Hey guys, happy Monday. Today we're going to compare linear functions with tables, graphs, equations, and word problems. And instead of doing IXL, I just want you to practice that quizzes review a few times. I'm going to give you a test tomorrow on Tuesday. And the IXL is kind of at a higher level, and I don't want anyone freaking out over it. So your quizzes is going to match very closely to your test. So just work on the quizzes a couple of times. I will give you the IXL at the end of this lesson. So that way, if you wanted to practice, you're really pushing yourself for LEAP and for your CSA. So by all means, push yourself and, you'll do great. What you're going to need today is your notebook and pencil. So make sure you have both ready so that way when you pause your video, you can take notes for today, okay? All right, so first, let's do a little review. I want you to pause the video and I want you to write the initial value and the rate of change of this equation, okay? In your notebooks, write this equation down, and then I want you to write the initial value is blank, the rate of change is blank, okay? Pause the video and go. Okay, let's see how you did. So keep in mind your initial value is your B. So hopefully you said -3 and not +3. We got to be very careful that that minus is a negative, okay? And your rate of change is your M, so hopefully you didn't freak out and you saw, it's just a fraction. It's 5/8. And from Friday, we know that that just means up 5/8. Rise over run. Okay, let's try another one. Ready? Okay. Let's pull it up a little bit. Here's a graph. Find my initial value or your y-intercept, and then I want you to find the rate of change or your slope. Pause my video. Okay, let's see how you did. All right, so did you see that your initial value is where it goes through the y? Your y-intercept was 10. How'd you do? Good, okay. Let's look at the rate of change. The rate of change, which is what we're talking about today, actually, it's going down, isn't it? Do you see how my line is going down? So my rate of change or my slope is actually going to be negative. If you had a positive number, that's okay too. We're going to fix it. Don't worry, we're going to fix it. So let's see how we're going down. Okay, I'm going from a 10 down to an 8. See, change of y. I went down, and then I went over 1. So my rate of change is -2. Did anybody try to write an equation with that? Let's see. So if my rate of change is -2 and my initial value is 10, -2x plus 10. Okay, let's try another one. How about, this word problem. Sarah babysits and gets paid $15 an hour. I want you to tell me the initial value and the rate of change, and push yourself. Go ahead and give me an equation for that too. Sarah babysits and gets paid $15 an hour. Does she get money if she doesn't show up? Nope. So does she have a starting amount? Nope. So she has no initial value. But she does get paid at a rate of $15 an hour. So did you write y equals 15x? If you did, you're amazing. Okay, we have one more. We did a graph, we did an equation, we did a word problem. Now we got a table. Okay, give me my initial value and the rate of change, and take your time on this. You might have seen this on another one of my lessons, but pause my video. Go. Okay, let's see how you did. Okay, your initial value, which is your b, or when my x is 0, there's my initial value, or my y-intercept when x is 0. Your initial value is 4. The rate of change is how my y changes, which is 0.3, 0.3, 0.3 over 1, 1, 1. So my rate of change is 0.3 over 1, which would just be 0.3. So if I wrote my equation, do you remember seeing this equation before? Because we definitely had it on Thursday. But I didn't show you the table, so I wanted to see how we did with our table. Okay. So guys, let's go ahead and start comparing them, okay? So what I want you to do is, since I can't hear you, but in your notebook, I want you to write down some important things of the problem. And I still want you thinking about what's missing, what's important. And notice I still have things covered up. I need you to think about this problem before we just start randomly solving it and not knowing what we're trying to solve. So let's find out what the main purpose of this question is so we know to answer it, and the words that are necessary. Okay. Miss White buys a used car for blank. She makes monthly payments of blank until the car is paid for. Mr. Brown also buys a used car. His monthly payment plan is shown in the table. Find and compare the rate of change and initial value for each function. I'll read it one more time. Miss White buys a used car for blank. She makes monthly payments of blank until the car is paid for. Mr. Brown also buys a used car. His monthly payment plan is shown in the table. Find and compare the rate of change and initial value for each function. So when you pause this video, I want you to write down what the point of this question is, what you know about payments monthly, anything that you can pull up that you can make sense of it before I show you the numbers. Okay? Pause it and write. Okay. All right. Did y'all talk about it? Did y'all think about what we have? So let's see what you came up with. Okay, before we show the numbers, let's see. Did anybody honestly just, like that just, it would have hit you in the face if you weren't paying attention, huh? Find and compare what? Watch what I'm going to do with this. The rate of change and initial value for each function. Why did I do that? How many times do y'all go to answer a question and y'all miss out something? Like all the time, right? Okay, start numbering your stuff. I need the rate of change and initial value for each function. So I need it for both, right? Okay, what else can you tell me? Can you tell me that monthly payments happens like every month until the car is paid off? So I want you to think about this. Mr. Brown and Miss White are paying for a car and we're paying monthly payments till the car pays off. What is my money going to look like? Is my money going to go up or is my money going to go down? Yeah, it's going to go down because I'm paying off and I'm going from a big amount paying off to something small. Okay, so let's see what our numbers are so we could start making sense of this, okay? All right, so Miss White buys a used car for $3,000 and makes monthly payments of $300 until the car is paid for. Mr. Brown also buys a used car and his monthly payment plan is shown in the table. Find and compare the rate of change and initial value for each function. So what I'm going to do, you pause in my video, and I need you to find the rate of change and initial value for both Miss White and Mr. Brown so we can have a discussion. Well, I could talk to my video camera, but y'all can talk to each other. So, all right, pause my video and find the rate of change and initial value for Miss White and Mr. Brown. Go. Okay, let's see how you did. I have full confidence that y'all could do Miss White. Y'all are doing really good with words, and that is so exciting for me. Thank you for that. Okay, so what did she start with? Miss White, her initial value is $3,000. That's what she started with. And did you catch that her payments were $300? That would be her rate each month. Okay, can we write an equation for that? Write an equation in your notebook. Did you write y equals 3,000? Let's see, I'm not going to have enough room. Hold on. Okay, let's pull you down. There we go. Okay, so let's do Miss White like this. Miss White. Y equals, now I want to show you something. There's something wrong with my equation. Something wrong with it. Anybody find it? Okay, remember the whole point of us thinking about our problem before I showed you the numbers is to know what's going to happen with my money. As I'm paying, what's happening? My amount's going lower and lower and lower. Is this equation going to get me lower and lower or higher and higher? So what I need you to understand is that my payments, what's happening, who had a negative 300? Did anybody have a negative 300? Because if you did, you are on top of the game. So good job, because I'm going to have to subtract 300 from my balance. That's what these monthly payments are. We're subtracting from my balance. Okay, now let's see how you did with Mr. Brown. Okay, so Mr. Brown, what was his beginning? His initial value was 2,400. So I'm going to put these side by side like this on top of each other. Now let's look at how much Mr. Brown had to pay off and what his rate of change was. So let's see. The change from y is 300. The change from y is 300 again. And look, a change of x is 1. So what is his rate of change? Mr. Brown's rate of change, you should have noticed, was 300 also. And again, look at what's happening to my numbers. Do you see? It's changing by a negative 300. I'm subtracting. That's why it's a negative 300. Okay, so here is the ultimate question. Find and compare the rate of change and initial value. What can you tell me about Mr. Brown and Mrs. White's rate of change? Are they exactly the same? Absolutely. So then let's compare their initial value. Who had the biggest initial value, White or Brown? Yes, Ms. White had the greatest initial value. So in real life, what does this mean? What does this mean? Does it mean it's going to take Miss White longer to pay hers off? And why would it take her longer to pay hers off? Because it was more, right? Her car cost more. So let's look at what happens when we graph it. So that's what it looks like when we do our equations. And that's why I spent a lot of time on equations with y'all, because you can clearly see the initial value and the slope right there in our face, okay? So let's look at our graph. And I'll make this a little bigger. Boop. Okay, Mrs. White is blue, Mrs. Brown is red. It took 10 months for Miss White to pay off and 8 months for Mr. Brown to pay off. And I want you to look at their slopes. They're going down. They're negative, okay? And we can also look at it in terms of this. So watch, I'm going to make a little box. And you know how we read from, let's see if it'll let me do it. We read from left to right, right? Okay, so watch this. So as I read this way, can you see my lines going down? Yeah, watch again, watch again, watch again, watch again. Ready? Ooh, see how it goes down? Okay, some students think, well, I could just walk up this hill. And so how can I tell if it's negative or a positive slope, or negative or positive rate of change? And I want you to imagine we read from left to right. And as I pull my box from left to right, I can clearly see it's going down. That's how I want you visualizing your graphs, okay? All right. Let's get rid of you. Okay, it won't let me get rid of you. All right, we will move on. Okay, so let's try another one. If my computer will. There we go. Okay, in your notes, see my little ski guy, ain't he cute? Okay, in your notes, I want you to put positive slope. Positive slope. Positive slope goes up. So he's working hard getting up the hill. He's going up. And also, we're reading from left to right. So if you see left to right, if I make my square, okay, there we go. Okay, watch. See how the line goes up? Okay, see how it goes up? All right, positive slope. Negative slope, he's going down. So negative slope, it just means you're losing money. It's going down, the temperature's dropping, so you're negative slope. So pause my video and write this in your notebook. Okay, next one is no slope. I can have no slope. If I checked roll every day in your hour, and everybody's here every hour on your hour, then I'm going to have the same number every single day, every hour. That is no slope, and that is absolutely fine. This is no slope. What's next? We did positive, negative, no slope. And, okay. This guy, is he a function? He's going straight up and down. Think about lesson 6. Can I have any lines that go straight up and down? No, we can't. So this is called undefined. You're going to hear him often when we get to lesson 9, but I just wanted to show you this now. It is not a function. So if he goes straight up and down, he's not a function. He's falling to his death, so we need to save him. Okay. All right, so let's try this one. So we just learned about comparing rates of change and initial value, okay? In your notebooks, I've got a table and a graph. And so I'm gonna read the question, and I want you to break down exactly how we did for the other question. The table and graph show how much money a store earns selling each team t-shirt and each team cap. Compare the rates of change for these two functions. Okay, so we're comparing the rate of change. Here's my table. Okay, and these are t-shirts, and here's the caps. Here's your hats. Okay, so I want you to compare the rate of change for the t-shirts versus caps. Pause my video. Go. Okay, did I give you enough time? Remember, my rate of change is my M. It's also my change of Y over change of X. So let's see how you did. So t-shirts I'm going to do in purple. My t-shirt rate of change, let's see, I'm moving by +4 and a +1. So my rate of change is 4. Let's look at the rate of change for my caps. My rate of change for my caps is going up 2 over 1. So my rate of change is 2. So if I want to compare the rates, what are all the things we could say about these two rates? What could we say? Well, t-shirts is $4 each. Caps are $2 each. Who has the biggest rate? Who has the most? The t-shirts. The t-shirts cost more. Who has the least? The caps. That's all this is, okay? This is lesson 7. Welcome. Okay, so let's do one more. The equation shows what two boys paid for at gym fees. Compare the rate of change and initial value. This one's a little easier. So compare the rate of change and initial value. Pause my video. Okay, let's see how you did. You ready? So for Alfredo, well, his initial value is 20. His rate of change is, let's see, +10 over 1. His rate of change is 10. And let's look at this one. So this initial value is 25, even though it was written backwards, but we could still understand it. And this rate of change is 10. So my rate of change is what? It's exactly the same, right? But what about my initial value? Who has the greater initial value? Alex does. Good job, guys. All right, so what I want you doing is just getting on to your quizzes and practicing who has the greater rate of change. And if you want to, you could do Z14, but I'm not, that's just to challenge yourself and to push yourself if you have time. But honestly, today, just continue the quizzes, and I'm going to let you do a little bit of the quizzes tomorrow before your test. Okay? All right, bye, guys. Y'all have a good rest of the day.